It's the end of the week. This is what you've been waiting for. It's my 2022 NFL mock draft. We're doing 3 rounds, no trades. Not going to get all fancy and whatnot, but we're going to be going pick by pick through all of it. And I'm doing it on the Draft Network Simulator. Keep in mind, they don't have all the prospects, but they do have a fair amount. But what's crack-a-lacking? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave that thumbs up if you enjoy the content. And as always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. And I will be streaming tomorrow. We're going to be doing the Kentucky-Georgia game. Both are undefeated. Hopefully it's a good game. We'll see. But let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty here. We're going to start with one. Kayvon Thibodeaux. He is, for a lot of people, the top overall prospect. If I'm the Jags, we're going with the top overall prospect. It's as simple as that. We got the Detroit Lions at 2. I went Kyle Hamilton. Evan Neal didn't make a ton of sense because that offensive line seems pretty good. They're a little beat up right now, but still, they look good for the future. Kyle Hamilton's a wonderful prospect. He is definitely a top 5 prospect. That secondary has probably been among the worst, also among the most beat up in the NFL, so adding Kyle Hamilton would help a ton. He's got a lot of versatility. Houston Texans, I went with Evan Neal. You might be like, oh, they don't really need another tackle. Let's be fair. Marcus Cannon, the dude's up there in age. Titus Howard, he's playing guard. I mean, you could also move Cannon into guard. Like, Evan Neal just helps. Maybe if Davis Mills, if you want to give him another go. Let's be fair. This is a guy that came into the NFL with a very small sample size to begin with. I think like only about 10 career starts at Stanford. So, in a relatively weak quarterback class, I don't mind giving Mills another shot. So let's enable him to have the best shot possible. And helping with the offensive line would help in a big way. And this video is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Download Underdog Fantasy today if you want to win some nice cash money. Doing what you're good at, being fantasy football. They got some other things you can bet on in there, and they're not just football. But if you're on this channel, you probably know football. So stick to what you know. Use promo code Broshmo, gets you $10 on your first $10 deposit. So you put in 10, use the promo code. Wow, I got 20 all of a sudden. Oh my gosh. People helping people. You help me, I help you. Gotta love it. So use promo code Broshmo. Helps the channel. It helps me. It helps you. It helps you help me. Back to your video, because I know it's a long one. The New York Jets, I'm going Derek Stingley for him. Someone did bring it up to me. They were like, well, man, the Jets, they have like 2 corners rated in like the top 50 per PFF. And that's a fair point to make. But analytically, cornerback is one of the most volatile positions. It doesn't hurt having depth and talent at that position, considering how volatile it is analytically. And Bryce Hall, he's doing great. I love it. Michael Carter II, he's your slot. You need someone on the outside. They try to put Guidry out there. He's more of a sub-package guy. And Eagles kind of struggled to begin the year. So grabbing Stingley, bam, you got a fierce cornerback room. So should be no complaints. The New York Giants, I went with Aiden Hutchinson. This was a relatively tough pick because it would have been nice if Neal was around. He was not. Hutchinson helps them get some pass rush. They could really use some help in the pass rush department. The Atlanta Falcons, would have been nice if Hayden was here or Hutchinson was here. But I went with DeMarvin Leal, man. He's a guy that a lot of people, in terms of evaluating, they're going to kind of evaluate him as an edge prospect just because that's where we've seen the most snaps. But in the few that we've seen where he kicked to the interior, he's looked very good as well. So having that versatility with the defense that Atlanta currently deploys, I think is very valuable. This team, its secondary, not great. Getting some pass rush would help a ton because they can't rush the passer. So maybe we'll address maybe the corner position a little bit later. The Philadelphia Eagles, they actually got back-to-back picks here. And they gave him the Colts pick. So I went with Kingsley and Nagbari. Help get some pass rush and some youth there. Derek Barnett, not likely to be re-signed. Was it Brandon Graham? There we go. He's going to be he's like 33 on the verge of 34. Kyrie Elam, he helps the cornerback room. I know, they just traded Zach Mertz. Got Tay Gowan. I love Gowan. Again, cornerback. It's the most volatile position on the roster. Let's just add talent and depth to that cornerback room. Steve Nelson, he's on a 1-year deal. So Elam, he's the second best corner I have in this class currently. And then Cincinnati Bengals at 9. I went Tyler Linderbaum. I played around with a few different thoughts here. I thought maybe Kenyon Green, but Kenyon Green's kind of he's a bit of a question mark. Like, he's had some up and down performances, but whenever he his left tackle game against Alabama was spectacular. It makes me think this guy is firmly a tackle in the NFL, or at least he can play tackle. I know right guard, or was it left guard? I think the previous year for Texas A&M, he played extremely well. He started the year at right tackle and looked pretty good there, but then he had some hiccups when they moved him right guard and whatnot. So this felt maybe a little early for him. You could go the next corner on the board. I ended up going Tyler Linderbaum, dude. He's just a safe bet. Trey Hopkins hasn't been that great, so Linderbaum, it gets some consistency on the interior there, because that's where a lot of the pressure has been coming from this year. The interior has been, I'm going to use a nice word, not good. The New York Giants back here. I went with the offensive line, Ikem Ekwonu, a guy that I want to give a shot at tackle, but might end up playing guard. Bruce Feldman, he's said this guy, he had him on his freaks list, said he was like the Mekhi Becton of this guard class. It's pretty high regards. Gettleman, typically you kind of peg him as a guy that loves these like kind of athletic freaks, which I don't know why he didn't get like Tristan Wirfs or Mekhi Becton in that regard in that Andrew Thomas draft. But Andrew Thomas has been playing some good football, so maybe getting a tackle next to him, or even a guy that ends up playing guard. Regardless, helping the line should be key. The Washington football team's the next pick. Malik Willis, first quarterback, finally off the board here. I think it just makes a ton of sense. He seems like a Ron Rivera guy. He's the guy with the highest ceiling in this class. Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm going quarterback as well. Matt Corral. These are, for all intents and purposes, for a lot of people, the top 2 quarterbacks in the class currently. I've had some Pittsburgh fans be like, oh man, they wouldn't go with a rookie quarterback if Big Ben retired. They haven't had a rookie quarterback since Big Ben was drafted. Like, they drafted a franchise guy that's been there for a while. So I don't know what history you're calling upon for that insight, but they really haven't drafted a quarterback in the first round since Big Ben. So, but Corral's great, dude. The Vegas Raiders, this pick was actually pretty tough, especially with all the turbulence going on in Las Vegas. I went with Trent McDuffie, man. I think he's a good scheme fit, especially if Casey Hayward, he's on a 1-year deal if he doesn't stay. It would have been nice to go with offensive line. I consider it, like Darion Kennard was a possibility here, but I just ended up opting for McDuffie. I think cornerback is the way to go right now, especially because I mean, we saw what happened when Mullins was out. Amik Robertson, a guy that's typically your sub package type of corner, had a hard time on the outside. Granted, it was facing Mike Williams, one of the hottest receivers in the league, but still, regardless, I like this pick. And then Darion Kennard goes with the next pick to the Eagles. I think this makes great sense. Landon Dickerson, he's looked not great at guard off the bat. I know he's just a rookie, but still, I think maybe the more natural position for him might be center, especially with Kelsey up there in years. Kennard's a guy that probably translates better to the interior anyway, but hey, grabbing some youth on that offensive line, it's not a bad option. You got 3 picks, so yeah, just take some shots. For the Carolina Panthers, I did go with Kenyon Green. Even if he ends up being a guard in the NFL, that's great. Carolina, they could use help at both guard spots, but I think there's a good shot maybe he is a tackle, whether they want to throw him on the right or left side. Taylor Moton, I think he's shown he can play either side too. Brady Christensen, don't know what you got in him. Didn't look great his first game at right tackle. I think a lot of NFL teams kind of consider him a guard prospect anyway, but I don't know. We'll see more. Regardless, this helps the offensive line. Jets second pick. Man, this was tough. There wasn't an interior guy I was willing to take at this point. So I was like, what can I do to help Zach Wilson that isn't then the offensive line? And I said, well, it's obviously receiver, right? So I went Chris Olave. He's a little bit different than anything they have on the roster there. You got Elijah Moore who could play outside. He could play in the slot. Chris Olave is very similar in that regard. He's your deep field burner, especially when you have a guy with an arm like Wilson. Also, he can do a lot after the catch, off screens and such. The dude's just got burners for days. And then having that with Corey Davis, who's kind of like the contested catch guy there. I like it. And then the New England Patriots, we go with receiver as well. Garrett Wilson, let's get some legit receiving talent into that receiving core. Garrett Wilson is a guy that can tackle all levels. I think it'd be a good fit for Mac Jones. Denver Broncos, Sam Howell. Do I really need to explain this one? Didn't think so. Let's keep going. The Minnesota Vikings. I went with Ahmad Gardner. Sauce, man. I think he's a good fit for Mike Zimmer and that press coverage they have. So, yeah, let's take advantage of a very good cornerback class and do what Mike Zimmer loves to do most and draft a corner in the first round. All right, the Dolphins are our next pick. I'm going to tell you, I ain't happy with this pick, but I felt like it may have been our best option. I went with Jordan Davis, the interior out of Georgia. It's not too early for him. We're in that 20 range now, and I feel like if you want to grab the next best interior guy, a guy that, you know, he's going to be a great run stuff and nose tackle with a little bit of pass rush and upside. He's got that imposing size. Right now, the Dolphins, they have Adam Butler. He's more of a rotation guy there, so adding some help there would be nice. You could say, why not the offensive line? I'm really sick of adding young talent to the offensive line and then just letting them develop at the expense of our quarterback. I'm just done with that. I'm sorry. Bring some veterans in. Let's creep towards average when it comes to that offensive line. Linebacker was a consideration, and I ended up saying, we'll wait, we'll hold. Let's go with Davis. Linebacker actually is the next pick. The Tennessee Titans go Devin Lloyd. What is it? Jayon Brown, it's a free agent after the year. Rashad Evans, he's probably done after this season with the Titans. They got David Long. He's flashed a bit, but I think getting a guy that could be a very good run stuffer. He's got some size. He has some pass rush upside to him. In Devin Lloyd would be very key. The New Orleans Saints. I ended up sticking with receiver. He feels a bit similar to what maybe they have in Michael Thomas, but it is what it is. I went with Drake London. I love Drake London. He's one of my favorite prospects in this class. He's a bit of a contested catch guy, but I think you could get real creative with him. You could put him in the slot. I mean, shoot, you could even put him in as a tight end 2 and 2 tight end sets, and just mess around. Like I think you could. I think Sean Payton could be very creative with a guy like Drake London. And then the Chargers, I went with Drake Jackson back to back, dude. I went with the Drakes out of USC. He's just a really good fit for that. Throw him at wide 9 and just have him run off the edge. I think it's perfect. The guy's got the movement skills. We've seen some freakish interceptions already from him. So yeah, Browns go George Karlaftis. Makes a ton of sense. Especially if Clowney doesn't return, grabbing a nice, big, powerful pass rusher that can kick inside occasionally. Makes sense. Andrew Booth goes to the Cowboys, man. Adding some quarterback depth, I think that helps. And I will say, Anthony Brown's been playing much better since the opener against Tampa. But still, Jordan Lewis has been up and down. Brown's a guy that with experience in the slot. You could kick him into the slot, or you could try to just help develop. I know they're like, oh, on day 2 they grabbed like Kelvin Joseph, who already made a bad impression during training camp. You have Nashawn Wright, who's a developmental guy at best. Let's grab Booth, just add talent. I don't know how Ravens fans will feel about this. I went with Nakobe Dean, the linebacker at Georgia. I think he might be a bit better stopping the run than Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen's just a missed tackle machine. And even in coverage, man, like we know this Patrick Queen's stupid fast, right? But he's just not reacting. He's not, I would say, trusting what he sees. He's a bit late in coverage. Nakobe Dean's a guy that you can man up in coverage and he'll be A-okay. If anything, it just adds a guy next to Queen. So I think Ravens, they're a good enough team where you could add some competition, you know? Arizona Cardinals wasn't a corner I was willing to go with here. So I went with Adam Anderson, man. Adam Anderson, I think this is kind of a big fall for Adam Anderson. So not a big fall, but Chandler Jones, most likely they get a deal done, but if they don't, they might be calling Adam Anderson on draft day. Nick Bonito goes to the Packers. Could have went receiver, like Treylon Burks would have made some sense here, but I think I like what the Packers could do with Bonito. Zadarius Smith, there's been rumors, allegedly, that he probably wants out after the season. Preston Smith already restructured his deal, so he could be easily let go. So you're down to Rashawn Gary. So maybe adding a guy that isn't just he's like this finesse pass rusher, but also a guy that could drop back into coverage. So I think you get a good bit of versatility with Bonito. It really just takes the right scheme, the right defensive mind. And then the Detroit Lions, they're actually going with Treylon Burks, getting a nice big receiver on the outside with some good speed for Jared Goff. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I went with Jordan Battle. Again, another team with the luxury of they're very good all around. So let's just hit somewhere that's kind of been a problem child this year being, well, the secondary, mainly because of injuries. They got Mike Edwards back there. They have Antoine Winfield. But I don't mind adding like Jordan Battle, guy that could come in, be like a dime linebacker, be a guy you put in the slot, or maybe as like as a corner in a dime package. Like you could do a lot of fun things with Jordan Battle. So it's just kind of like a rich get richer thing. The Buffalo Bills, I went with Sean Ryan. He's listed as tackle. I have him. He's probably going to be on my tackle rankings, but a guy that could kick to the inside, and that's kind of what I expect with Buffalo. Sean Ryan's going to immediately play guard because they've been getting bad play out of the guards this year. And that doesn't mean he can't compete for tackle. There's a good chance he could. But I just like strengthening the offensive line there. And then to finish the first round, Myjah Sanders going to the Chiefs. Their pass rush sucks. We saw how bad it sucked when Chris Jones was out against Buffalo. They got no pressure. I mean, Daniel Sorensen in the back end didn't really help things much, but they still got no pressure. So that's the first round. I'm about to start round 2, but I'm going to rehydrate. It almost drowned. Oh my gosh. Let's get this sucker rolling. All right, we're starting with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I went with offensive tackle. I went with Nicholas Petit-Frere. He's done a good job at left tackle there for Ohio State. He moved to right, looked just as good. Jacksonville, Cam Robinson likely not coming back. Jawan Taylor, he's looking better this year, but still, you could take another step in the right direction. Oh man, I might need CPR. Woo! All right, here we go. But I know they got Walker Little there, but still, just add it. Just invest in trying to protect your franchise quarterback. And then Detroit Lions next pick. I went with Carson Strong. He's the next quarterback on my board. I don't know if I kind of like struggle. Do I think he's a first rounder or not? But I think here with the third pick for Detroit coming here early in the second, it's good value. It's not too much of an investment. I feel like Carson Strong, there needs to be some development there. And I mean, Jared Goff is there, so I mean, he has time. Unfortunately for the Texans, quarterback got grabbed, but I don't think I would have gone quarterback. We've already invested in Davis Mills. We're going to invest more. Jahan Dotson, get him a real playmaker at receiver. I mean, dude, the dude's got Cooks there too, but Dotson, man, that's scary. That's scary. New York Jets. I went with Christian Harris, dude. I was like, this guy's too, just his athletic upside's too much to pass on. If you look at the linebacker position for Atlanta, it's been kind of bad. Like CJ Mosley hasn't been good. Who else they've had? Quincy Williams. He hasn't been that great. And I mean, they got a couple of rookies that are former safeties turned linebacker, and Jamian Sherwood and Hamsah Nazar-Ildeen. So yeah, I think Christian Harris. Why not? It sounds good to me. And then linebacker continues to go off the board. I go with the Giants, going with Brandon Smith. Brandon Smith, he has moved to the interior, or like more of a traditional linebacker role there for Penn State. He's looked exceptionally good. He's a guy, he's got some coverage skills. And I think the drop off at linebacker is kind of considerable at this point, to where it's like, let's pull the trigger. Blake Martinez went down, and Tate Crowder. I don't know. Tate Chowder. It doesn't matter. He hasn't been good this year. So I went with a linebacker. The Atlanta Falcons, I went ahead and got my corner. Darion Kendrick could easily go in the first round. He's got a lot of questions about like some of the character concerns this past offseason. We'll find out more during the draft process, but he's got first round talent. And you got former Clemson boys. They used to play together. My gosh, dude. This is gonna be like a buddy cop thing, dude. You got AJ Terrell, your good cop, and then Darion Kendrick, your bad cop. Then the Miami Dolphins, I went with receiver. I went George Pickens. I really think he's gonna test out well. I don't think he returns to Georgia this season nor next season. But I think he's gonna blow the top off at the combine. Will Fuller? Oh, guess what? He got hurt. Who would have thought? But he's on a 1-year deal anyway. So grabbing another big body with some real good downfield potential, great body control, prototypical X wide receiver stuff there. Philadelphia Eagles. I went with safety. I think safety is definitely a need. You got Anthony Harris on a 1-year deal. You could probably even if you retain him, you can improve next to him. Like Epps is whatever. So I went with Jaquan Brisker, mainly because I feel like Brisker is a box only or a too high guy. And the Eagles, they're among those teams that play a lot of too high. So I think it works out. Brisker's phenomenal. This guy's around the ball constantly. He has a nose for the football, but even better, he is one of the most sure tacklers in college football. Not just at his position, but in college football. Cincinnati Bengals, we grab our tackle, man. I went with Charles Cross. Dude's got the athletic upside, and he's been showing it. He's got a big matchup this week. I think it's against Alabama, so Godspeed. Actually, I got the games pulled up here. What am I doing? I could tell you specifically it's Alabama. It's Alabama. Godspeed, brother. Godspeed. He's been looking good, though. The Bears, I go with kind of tackle as well. Jackson Kirkland, because after Kirkland, there's kind of a drop-off. And Kirkland isn't just a tackle prospect. He has some guard. He played right guard before they moved him to left tackle. And we've seen some struggles at left tackle this season at least. So he could come in there, play left or right tackle for the Bears next Tevin Jenkins in terms of their future tackle duo. Or he could even kick inside the guard where James Daniels and Cody Whitehair have kind of struggled this year. So, yeah, just adding depth to that line to help your franchise quarterback. Not Chicago Bears. Washington football team. I went with safety Jalen Catalan, dude. I love Catalan. This dude can move. The missed tackles have kind of crept back up. He started going back to the old habits of, I'm just going to try to hit guys really, really hard, and it doesn't always make the tackle. But safety is by far one. I think this is what's really costing the secondary a ton, is definitely the safety play. Because Landon Collins, most overpaid safety probably in the NFL, not playing great. Who would have thought? He should be more of a linebacker anyway at this point in the NFL. To be fair, they have been using him in the box a ton, but there have been times where he's dropped deep. But Bobby McCain has not been good for them. He just hasn't. Cameron Crowe has been good, but he's a guy that they kind of use in the box at slot. Jeremy Reeves, I think, is nice, but he's not getting on the field. I don't know if it's because he's hurt or whatnot, but regardless, Catalan comes in, really helps that group there almost immediately. Pittsburgh Steelers, I wanted to go with tackle, but tackle kind of already came off the board. I feel like I don't want to kind of reach for a guy, and I'm also trying to respect if these guys would fit in this scheme, and I just don't feel like any of the tackles here that might creep up in this spot, I don't think they're good scheme fits. Regardless, I went with corner. Corner's probably been the worst position on defense for the Steelers this season. Joe Hayden, he's getting older. Cameron Sutton honestly might end up just being a better slot guy, but he's kind of struggling on the outside. So Roger McCreary, good pickup here. Hey, Raiders fans, I got y'all on the offensive line. Zion Johnson, one of my favorite offensive line prospects in this class. This guy proved he can play left tackle there at Boston College. Now he's moved back into the position where everyone thinks he's going to settle in the NFL, being guard. But you got that possibility. If Alex Leatherwood doesn't work out at right tackle, kick him into guard, bam, you got Zion Johnson. If Leatherwood is the guy you want to move forward at right tackle, Zion Johnson, bam, he's already projected as a guard. So just getting help on that offensive line. And then Indianapolis Colts get Trevor Pennant at Northern Iowa. Like I said, I didn't feel like he would have been a good scheme fit for the Steelers, and he's more of a developmental prospect at this point anyway. So if they're able to bring back Eric Fisher for another season, or bring in another veteran to take up that left tackle spot, you don't have to throw Pennant right into the fire. He could be a guy you develop. We're going to learn a lot about him during the draft process, so yeah, gonna have to wait and see. New York Jets. I don't think Marcus May is coming back, so I went with Brandon Joseph. Brandon Joseph, down year, but he's starting to look a lot more solid. Not nearly as dominant as he was the year before, but still, Brandon Joseph, he put on a little weight. He's a guy that can play free. He can play in the box. He can play in the slot. He can do a lot of different things for you, much like Marcus May does for the Jets. So grabbing him here, I like it. Seattle Seahawks is their first pick. I went with Daxton Hill. Mainly because their secondary in Seattle sucks. It's not good. Hill's a guy that can play in the slot. He's been playing primarily in the slot this season, but he's a guy you could also trust as your center fielder. Jamal Adams. They haven't really been rushing him. They haven't been that creative with Adams this year, which is a bit surprising. But I feel like Adams does his best work around the line of scrimmage in the box. I know you got Diggs there too, but still having a guy like Hill and a guy as versatile as Jamal Adams, you're gonna end up paying. So, yeah, I think it allows you to get a bit creative. Quarterback depth would have been nice, but I feel like corner was kind of a reach at this point. New England Patriots, I went with Daniel Falele out of Minnesota. The dude, the mastodon, the mountain himself. He just kind of fits what New England likes to get on their offensive line. He's been a good pass protector. By no means is he like a I guess gravedigger in the run game, but he holds his own. And with Trent Brown being, injured Trent Brown, and Isaiah Wynn being okay, why not grab some more talent there and Falele? The Denver Broncos go with Thayer Mumford. Now, I initially think you could start him right off the bat at right tackle, but a guy that he's probably going to be a better guard in the future. Anyway, he's a guy that we've probably seen his ceiling. This is his climax. He's going to be, I think, a solid NFL player. And I think the Broncos just go for a guy that you know is going to be a solid player on that offensive line. Even if Mumford's not your right tackle of the future, he's a guy that provides some depth at the guard position. Or maybe things do work out there. So, yeah. Minnesota Vikings, I went with Zach Harrison. Things with Danielle Hunter, I don't know. We'll find out. Is he still with the team after the season? I don't know. If he is, though, Everson Griffin, they're reunited. They're looking great, but still, how long will that be? Everson Griffin's kind of the twilight of his career. DJ Wonnum is exactly what we thought he is, a rotation guy. So Zach Harrison, a guy with a lot of tools, just needs a little refining. This is actually one of my favorite picks in this draft. The San Francisco 49ers, I went with Martin Emerson. Just totally fits this defensive scheme. It gives them some cornerback depth. I know Diamador Lawa has been looking but still cornerback, volatile position. Martin Emerson is a good pickup. First run backs off the board here. Atlanta goes Breece Hall. Mike Davis has not been all that in a bag of chips. A lot of that you could definitely blame on the offensive line. Mainly the right side being McGarry and is it Mayfield? Jalen Mayfield? Yeah, is it Jalen Mayfield? Let me confirm. Cannot confirm or deny, but I will not lie. Okay. Yeah, so we got McGarry on the right side, and actually Mayfield's been playing left. I don't know why. Chris Lindstrom's, of course, he's on the right side. But Jalen Mayfield's been playing pretty bad at guard. But you got to think one of those guys works out. Mayfield might be a guy you end up kicking to right tackle eventually anyway. I don't know. Regardless, I think they bring in some veterans on that offensive line, or maybe there's a guy we could address later in the draft. But Breece Hall, I don't think Mike Davis is the guy. Breece Hall is more of this complete running back that I think that Arthur Smith would really like. At least, I'm not saying this is the next Derrick Henry. Gosh, no. I don't see a 250-pound running back in this class. But I'm saying Breece Hall is a pretty darn good running back, and I think he is the best running back in this class. All right, Saints fans, who dat? It's Spencer Rattler, yo. Hate me if you want. Listen, this is great value for Spencer Rattler. If he ends up declaring this draft, people are still going to buy into the arm talent that's worth investing in and developing, and there's a lot less investment on day 2. Why not take a shot here? Guess what? If it doesn't work out, it is what it is. But you know that the arm talent was there. Can you now discipline the unruly Spencer Rattler? Can you get the douche out of him? I think Sean Payton can be a guy that can do that. Especially, you still got Jameis. I imagine they still will have Jameis. So, yeah. This is actually another one of my favorite picks in this class. I got Isaiah Likely going to the Chargers. Trey McKitty, for all intents and purposes, probably going to be a blocking tight end. But he does have some receiving upside. Isaiah Likely isn't specifically just a tight end. He's a guy you can dip into the slot. You could actually use him a lot like you did Hunter Henry. He's kind of like more of a Darren Waller too. So I'm telling you, Likely he's going to be rising up boards. Hey, Akila, come here. Come show me some love. Look, it's Akila. It's my other dog. Y'all see Gojo, see Akila. She's true to me. She's a Dolphins fan. Dolphins aren't on the board, though. They're not on the board. If you didn't know, my other dog, Gojo, he is apparently a Chiefs fan. Little bandwagoner. Cleveland? Yeah, Cleveland Browns. I went with David Bell, dude. I don't know how much longer OBJ is going to be on this squad. David Bell's, I think, going to be a good contested catch target, as well as a guy that you can dump balls off on a screenplay and can create after the catch. I like a lot about David Bell. Dallas Cowboys are back on the clock. I went with Edge. This is a guy that he reminds me a lot, actually, of DeMarcus Lawrence. Zion, Toy Paloa, Fetty, ZTF. If you didn't know, he suffered an ACL injury in April. Might be playing this week. Even if he doesn't, there's a good chance he plays the following week. This guy is good. I was loving him before the ACL injury. I think he was like 3 or 4 on my edge rankings initially. Then I found out about the ACL injury. Didn't think he was going to play this year. He might end up playing because I really think he wants to come out in this class. He could probably maybe go a lot higher than this if he comes back and looks like he did last season. And then at 58, Ravens. I just didn't want to pass on value. Perion Winfrey falling here is perfect. A guy that just penetrates. And he doesn't even have to be like this guy that's, oh, we don't know if he's a 3-down guy. We don't know if this is a guy that can stop the run. Then fine. You got a guy that comes in on passing downs or comes in on early downs because you want to get some disruption, I guess disruption's the best word. Disturbance, ruckus, some havoc in the backfield. Like Winfrey's been great this year. Cardinals next pick. Their run defense hasn't been that great this year. So I went with Travis Jones, a guy that has shown some pass rushing upside, but you're getting a really good run defender there that could come in and play on the interior of that line. I like Travis Jones a lot. I think he's going to fall somewhere in this day 2 area. Packers, I got you a receiver. I got Jameson Williams, man. This guy has had the juice that John Mechie really hasn't this year. I really like Williams a ton. I don't know what this guy's ceiling is, but I'm excited. Dude's a former Ohio State recruit, transferred to Alabama, looking great this year. All right, here it is. Los Angeles Rams. Oh, that's a good drink. I went with Desmond Ridder. Hear me out. Desmond Ridder to me is a very high-end developmental prospect. I may not like this guy. I think, well, it's not that I don't like him. It's just the dude's stupid and inaccurate. Probably among the most inaccurate guys in this class. So I figured if a team's picking him up, you're not starting him right away. Los Angeles Rams, this is kind of it right here. Like, Matthew Stafford's kind of at the helm. Let him have his time, and then maybe you have something in Ridder. So I think this is kind of fun. This is fun, too. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Kenneth Walker. They got a bunch of running backs on one-year deals. Kenneth Walker, he leads the college football in forced missed tackles. Yeah, he's going to be up there in this class, man. Kenneth Walker's phenomenal. Bills, this one was a big scheme fit. Y'all know how I liked Trent McDuffie as like a coverage fit for the Buffalo Bills. Well, his teammate's pretty darn good too, and Kyler Gordon. He's nice, he's long and lengthy, and the Bills, they could use a good number 2 next to White. Levi Wallace is okay, but you could probably do better than that. And then for the last pick in the second round, I got the Kansas City Chiefs going Noah Daniels out of TCU. He just returned last week. We'll see more of him down now here in the second half of the season. A guy that does have some injury woes, but we know this guy has like first round potential. It just the injury red flags are probably too much to put him in that range. But this guy's got everything. He's got speed. He's got size. And he has production, when on the field. So, and he'd be a very good scheme fit for Kansas City. So before we get into round 3, the final round, I'm taking a sip, man. Woo! Man, hopefully the video ain't too long. Let's try to speed through this sucker. Jacksonville Jaguars. To open this round, I got, Lasidius Smith. Man, I was practicing saying this name beforehand, and I don't remember. But out of Virginia Tech, AJ he ain't that good. Let's see. We got the Detroit Lions. I went with Edge Arnold, another name that I was trying to practice beforehand, and I forget now. Arnold. I think it's a big. I'm not even gonna try it, man. I'm not even going to try it. I'm going to write it in the notes next time. I'll get this name down. Former Temple transfer. Didn't get a lot of playing time at Temple. Transfers to Penn State. Oh my gosh, the dude's been a monster. He is definitely deserving of maybe a day 2 pick. This guy flies off the edge. Again, you're just picking talent at this point and guys that you think may fit your scheme. The Houston Texans, I went with Matt Hankins, dude. This is like, I think he's a great fit for Lovie Smith's defense, if I'm going to be honest. Them Iowa kids, dude, they're very disciplined. This guy's been very good this year, among the best corners in college football. The New York Jets, I went with tight end, man. They need a good tight end, so I went with Trey McBride. Like, this guy, he's got, you know, you're at least getting a great run blocker. But I think Trey McBride has a little bit of Kittle in him. I'm just going to say that. A little Kittle. Little Kittle. The New York Giants, I'm going back to the offensive line again. Kellen Deich, guy that's been very impressive at Arizona State. He could end up playing guard. Could be a tackle. He's been playing great at tackle for Arizona State the last season and a half. So you got him, you got Icky at NC State, so you just added a lot of talent to that offensive line. The Atlanta Falcons, I ended up going with John Mechie, dude. John Mechie, he's still pretty good. He's still one of the best separators in this class. You may worry about how he will handle physicality at the NFL, but you could probably maybe scheme that, especially with Atlanta. Whether it's putting him in the slot, having him in motion. I think Arthur Smith could get creative with him if he really wants to. The New York Giants. Saquon's beat up, but let's get him a legitimate backup. You have a lot of picks. Let's take the shot. Zach Charbonnet, dude. Nice big power back that actually has some forced miss tackle ability. He's been very good this year. I like this pick a lot, especially just sitting behind Saquon. Just take some of the load off that dude's shoulders, man. Philadelphia Eagles finally grabbed a linebacker, Owen Popo, a guy that's just athletically phenomenal. I think he has a chance of being a potentially good blitzer, a very good guy in coverage, just a guy that probably needs a little bit more time in the oven. Cincinnati Bengals, I went with the other Iowa corner, Riley Moss, dude. Look at that. We got a white corner in football again. Oh, man, hell's freezing over. But Riley Moss, he's actually a former track athlete. So the dude's got legit speed. Playing that Iowa corners defense, I think would be a good fit for this Bengals squad. So I like this. I like this quite a bit. Chicago Bears, I went with the secondary. Grabbed Tyke Smith. He's the slot at Georgia, probably one of the best slot prospects in this class as well, like slot only prospects. Like Chicago's been they've been throwing, is it Duke Shelley out there in the slot, I believe. Can confirm, and it's not been going well. Not been terrible, but you can do better. So I grabbed Tyke Smith. Linebacker going to Washington, DeMarvion Overshown, a guy that has great length. He has the chance to be, I think he could be a good weak side linebacker. You kind of want him to become a bit more of a sure tackler. I think that'll come along. Eventually, you just got to coach him up in that regard. But this dude has great potential. He's a very good blitzer when asked to do so. So I think this guy's got a lot of potential. And, I mean, we're in the 3rd round. I'm willing to swing on some potential. Steelers, I finally get you your offensive lineman, Abina Eze, at a TCU, former Memphis transfer. This is a very big dude, but he moves extremely well. So I like this guy coming to the right side. It really depends. Zach Banner, when he comes back, let's see how he plays before I guess really say, hey, okay, we need to improve the tackle position. Because I'm not going to lie, I wasn't a big fan of Dan Moore last season going into the draft. He's played relatively well this year. So good on y'all. Las Vegas. I went with linebacker, man. Linebacker's been kind of a dud for y'all this year, so I went with Chad Muma out of Wyoming. He's been very, very good there at Wyoming. Indianapolis Colts, secondary. What's going on? Rocky Sin, he's banged up. So is Xavier Rose, but he's on a 1-year deal. So, yeah, let's grab some help on the outside. I went with McKill Wright. I think this is very good value here in the 3rd round with Wright, who's having kind of a bit of a tough year. Big, like mainly against Stanford and Ohio State. You really saw some of his struggles, but there's a lot of talent there to be had. Plus, he's a very young player. I think he's like redshirt sophomore or something. Jacksonville Jaguars. I went ahead with tight end, Jeremy Ruckert. For one, he's probably one of the better blocking tight ends in this class, so that really lends itself to the run game. I know Trevor Lawrence didn't really have a repertoire with his I don't think that's the word I'm looking for, but it's the word I'm using with tight ends at Clemson. But Jeremy Ruckert, he has the athletic ability to be a very good receiver. It's just he's not very utilized a ton there at Oklahoma or Ohio State. But he has the ability to. So if that changes, you could depend on Ruckert to do that. Let's just add some talent to the tight end position. Like, I love O'Shaughnessy, but we all know that guy's like a tight end too. Seattle Seahawks, I added some pressure to the interior defensive line in Fedarian Mathis. This guy is literally like, he will shoot the gap and straight line, beeline for the quarterback. So I like that. I like that a lot. New England Patriots, I went with corner Alontae Taylor out of Tennessee. This guy's a very good speedster. That's been very good with the ball skills this year. I think he'd be good in the Patriots coverage scheme. My dogs are playing. I'm going to close the door real quick. All right, where are we at? Denver Broncos? Yeah. Von Miller, probably not coming back. Malik Reed, dude's been very good with Bradley Chubb down. But I decided let's just add some edge talent. I went with Jermaine Johnson. Listen, he's got impressive tape out there. And dude's a former Georgia transfer. This guy's talented. It's like, there's some times where it's like, when he's on the field, it's kind of just a lull. Like, okay, where is he at? What's he doing? But like, golly, not saying the dude doesn't have a high motor. It's just sometimes he gets blocked well. He's kind of out of the play. But this dude does have some high-end reps, man. He's been impressive. He has been impressive. It's just a very good edge class, and you really got to nitpick it. You really do. The Minnesota Vikings, Harrison Smith, he can't play forever, right? Xavier Woods on 1-year deal. I went with Lewis Sign. I think he's actually a really good scheme fit for Minnesota. A real headhunter there, but he's shown off some ball skills this year. This is another fun pick, by the way. San Francisco 49ers. I went with Wan'Dale Robinson. Can you imagine what Kyle freaking Shanahan would do with a weapon like Robinson? Who have they been using in the slot this year? Mohamed Sanu? Old news. Tennessee tight ends. I ended up grabbing a tight end. Let's give him a good receiving tight end, and I went with Greg Dulcich. Dude, he's been one of my favorite tight end prospects this year. This guy's got some legit receiving chops. Like, watch out for this cat. Watch out. Houston Texans, I went with some edge help. Isaiah Thomas out of Oklahoma has been a monster. Los Angeles Chargers, I added some depth to the cornerback position. Brandon Staley's scheme doesn't necessarily require his corners to be big and meaty. So I went with THT, right? Hodges Tomlinson out of TCU, man. This guy, he's a good football player. Good football player. Cleveland Browns, I ended up going Jared Patterson. He ended up being the top center that I had on my board that the Draft Network also had. So it worked out. J.C. Treader, I don't know if he's back after 2022. Dallas Cowboys, they got a lot of one-year contracts there at safety, so I went with the safety. Verone McKinley out of Oregon. He's played very good football this year. Very good. Baltimore Ravens. I went with Rasheed Walker. This is a perfect spot for a guy with very high physical tools. Just, he needs development. He really hasn't shown out against high end or top competition. That's kind of his thing. Like, you see the tools when it doesn't matter, and then he just gets mollywopped by Ohio State and Michigan and Wisconsin. It's a shame. Arizona Cardinals, I kind of stayed with the same line of thought. Abraham Lucas, first off, I think he would actually be really good in Cliff Kingsbury's scheme. Second of all, I'm not going to lie to you, I really think Josh Jones might end up being a guard. He hasn't looked great at right tackle, filling in for Kelvin Beachum. So, yeah, I went with Lucas here. And then the Packers, I got Kenny Clark some help with Haskell Garrett. This is a guy that don't know if he's going to be a 3-down guy, but this is a guy you can bring in, and he could be a good run defender. He could also be a guy that can consistently put pressure on the passer. And then the Los Angeles Rams, I went with some edge help in Sam Williams. Again, this is a very talented edge class, and you kind of want to get in on it early, because I really think that there can be a big run on there's going to be a big run on edge talent at some point. You'll see good prospects fall, but at some point the bottle will break, and when it breaks, it's going to be all over the floor. There's all the edge talent. People are going to be scrambling for it. It's like a piñata. At some point, someone's going to bust that piñata, and then kids are going scrambling. What a metaphor. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I went with cornerback help. I figured, why not? It's been banged up. Let's add more talent. Tariq Castro-Fields, a good speedster, has been a good playmaker there. Buffalo Bills. I'm not a big Tremaine Edmonds fan. I think they could upgrade, but I figure it's because they love the physical and athletic upside that he has there. So I went with Brian Asamoah out of Oklahoma, a guy that's been a very good run defender this year. You kind of worry a little bit about him in coverage, not from an athletical standpoint, just in terms of being able to see it, trust what he sees, and then react to it. So again, even if they move forward with Emmons, it's just good depth. Speaking of good depth, Baltimore Ravens, let's take a shot on Sevyn Banks. They took a shot on Shaun Wade, ended up trading him. Why not on Sevyn Banks, he's got probably a better skill set. It's just the production sucks. Pittsburgh Steelers. I went with nose tackle, man. Corey Durden, dude, he just started the last 2 games. And guess what, dude? The dude's showing that ridiculous upside he has. I think this guy sneaks into day 2, man. I'm really high on Corey Durden, dude. I may be a mark for NC State defensive lineman, though, too. So watch out for that. But, yeah, I like this. And then the Detroit Lions, I grabbed a linebacker that could blitz like a monster, and Micah McFadden, dude, out of Indiana. This guy is a prime blitzer, and they could definitely use some help at linebacker. The Miami Dolphins, I know people will be clamoring, oh, man, you need to grab a running back. I ain't grabbing a running back early, but I went ahead with Isaiah Spiller. I figured, let's go with the top power back in the class, and he would kind of serve as the Malcolm Brown in the Dolphins offense. Linebackers kind of woof for the Rams, so I went with Ellis Brooks. He's been pretty solid for Penn State. Baltimore, I continue to go with corner with the Baltimore Ravens. This time looking more to the slot with Tywan Mullen, dude. He's been wonderful for Indiana. It's just at his size, he's probably slot only. And then the final pick in this draft, the New Orleans Saints. I grabbed some guard help because Ardeus Pete sucks. Jamari Sawyer. He plays tackle for Georgia, but mainly he's typically helped out a lot by tight ends. This is a guy that really, his MO is like, this guy's totally going to be a guard prospect in the NFL, and he's going to be a pretty good one. But that's it, man. I ran through the whole thing, dude. There's a lot of freaking picks. I think I did good. They didn't have everybody, of course, in here. Like, I kind of like brought it up with this Jared Patterson pick. This probably would have been Donovan West from Arizona State, but he's not in their, I guess, in their database. So the next guy I have is Jared Patterson, who I feel better about at the beginning of day 3. But we're here at near the end of the 3rd round, so might as well just grab my guy. I don't know. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Thank you for everything. Of course, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.